The crowd falls silent, a gate creaks open. A man steps barefoot into the sand, armed with nothing but a short blade. From the shadows, a lion emerges starving, ribs pressing through its fur, its eyes locked on its prey. This is not war. This is not justice. This is entertainment. But how did Rome, the empire of laws, order, and civilization, become the empire of blood? Today, I will tell you this story in a way you've never heard before. From funeral rites to naval battles, from myth made flesh to the burning of men, this is the rise of Rome's most shocking invention, the culture of death as spectacle. It began not in the Colosseum, but in a muddy Roman forum. The year was 264 BC. Decimus Junius Brutus Sceva had just buried his father. To honor him, he staged the first recorded gladiatorial combat. 3 pairs of slaves fought not for sport, but as a funeral duty, what the Romans called a munus. Here's the twist. This was not meant to entertain the living, but to appease the dead. Blood was an offering, not a show. Yet funerals have a way of drawing a crowd. What began as private grief soon became public spectacle. In southern Italy, especially in Capua, the Samnites had long staged warrior duels during feasts for the dead. Slowly, ritual killing shifted to ritual combat. Death itself became less important than the struggle. The fight was now the story. By the late 3rd century BC, these duels began to appear in Rome's official festivals, the ludi. Originally held in honor of Jupiter, the Senate funded them as acts of devotion, especially in times of crisis. But the games, once sacred, became state business. Rome had discovered something: dangerous violence could be organized, scheduled, and controlled. By the end of the Republic, temporary wooden stages were no longer enough. Stone amphitheaters rose across Italy. With each block laid, Rome was writing a new law not on tablets, but in blood and stone. Gladiators were no longer offerings to the dead. They were tools of the living: politicians, generals, emperors, each eager to win favor through games. The Iron Gate groans again. This time, a man does not face another man. He faces a lion. By the 1st century CE, Rome's arenas had expanded into venations, beast hunts, and damnatio ad bestias, executions by animals. Prisoners, rebels, and criminals were hurled into the sand against starved beasts. Sometimes trained fighters, the bestiarii, battled lions, panthers, and bears. In mosaics across the empire, we see them: a man with spear raised, a net caster dodging claws. Archaeology gives us the proof. In Romain, Britain, a man's pelvis was found with deep lion bite marks. He died not in battle, but in spectacle. Rome had turned hunger into a weapon, starving both beasts and men to heighten the suspense. These were not random entertainments, they were politics in motion. Generals like Pompey staged elaborate hunts, knowing blood won votes. Emperors learned that the louder the crowd roared, the safer their rule. The games blurred justice and theater. To kill was to rule. And when beasts and blades weren't enough, Rome flooded the stage. The water ripples under a blazing sun. Then the horns sound. 2 fleets collide not on the sea, but in a man-made lake in the heart of Rome. These were mock naval battles. Julius Caesar staged the first in 46 BC. Real ships, real weapons, real men condemned prisoners, forced to die in watery war. Augustus went further. His artificial basin was so vast it needed its own aqueduct. 30 ships clashed, thousands fought, thousands died. Claudius even drained an entire mountain lake to stage his show. As the condemned greeted him with the words, "Morituri te salutant," those who are about to die salute you. Rome no longer ruled only land. It ruled the very elements: earth, fire, and water bent into tools of death. By the time of the Colosseum's opening in 80 CE, death had become theater. Emperors staged executions as myths come alive. A man dressed as Orpheus tried to charm wild beasts. The myth says nature obeyed him. In Rome, he was torn apart. Others were cast into fire, reenacting legends like Mucus Scaevola, who held his hand to the flames. Victims were burned alive in tunicae molestipitch-soaked shirts that turned men into living torches. Tertullian, a Christian writer, bitterly described these mythic executions. They were not stories. They were men, mocked as heroes, tortured as actors, consumed as entertainment. Rome did not just kill. It staged killing as legend, rewriting myth in flesh and flame. So what was Rome's true legacy? Was it law, engineering, empire? Or was it the ability to turn death into ritual, ritual into spectacle, and spectacle into control? From funeral rites to beast hunts, from naval battles to mythic tortures, Rome's arenas were more than entertainment. They were statecraft written in blood. But here's the haunting question. Have we really moved beyond it? Or do we still crave spectacle, only dressed in new forms? Comment below, which Roman spectacle shocked you most: gladiators, beasts, naval wars, or mythic executions? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history's untold stories.